positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I would like to gift my book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance to you at goldenkey.gift, where you can get the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD at checkout. Hey, howdy, positive heads. Welcome back. It's a Friday here in the studio. Grateful to be with you guys, gals, aliens, whoever might be tuning in. Hope you are making the most of wherever you're receiving this broadcast. And yeah, I know I am making the most of my moment. And what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about a quote from Confucius that I saw recently that, just brought up a lot that I think would be worthwhile to share. One thing I want to share actually with you guys before I jump into that actually is something that I've been doing that's really helped my energy a lot. And I have started like intermittent fasting. I did it years ago for a while, but I started doing it maybe 3 weeks ago now, Monday through Thursday, between, let's say after 2 p.m. and until 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whenever I get up, I'm not eating anything. So, and then I just eat, kind of normal, in between those, at least like 2 meals during that window. And, man, it's really helped my energy a lot. Dropped about 7 pounds. Not trying, right? I mean, I think my body's just readjusting. I would say I probably, if I had to guess what my ideal weight is, if I dropped 10, that would kind of be there. So like I was probably 192 when I started. Now I'm 185. Maybe if I got down to 180, that'd be like my ideal weight, for my size, et cetera. So anyway, yeah, just thought of that. I just wanted to share it. If any of you out there have been struggling with energy or, sleep or, just weight, that kind of thing. It's something that is really pretty easy once you get used to it. Like the first, you might by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever, feel hungry for a little bit. But if you just kind of, obviously you just stick with it, it just kind of wanes after a while. After I'll notice I get hungry in the evening, but then it just kind of goes away and then it's time for bed. And then by the time I wake up, I feel completely normal, not even that hungry when I wake up. And so it's just a matter of retraining ourselves. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that. If you're looking for something, I mean, think about it. What happens is not only does your body get the opportunity to do all the cell cleanup, autophagy, you can look it up as kind of what happens where all the like broken down cells get recycled and you're allowing your body to actually, your digestive system, giving it a break. So now your body has a time and energy, instead of putting all its energy into digestion all the time, it can do all these other chores, if you will. So I am definitely sold on it. Like I said, I did it probably 5 years ago here and there, but this time it's just really, it's very clear to me that it's just like something very good for my system and body and energy and all the way around. So highly, highly recommend it. Just wanted to pass that along to any of you who are looking for something to try that, like I said, once you get, it's just not that hard either. Once you realize we're eating way more food than you really need. And once you train your brain, it's like, I actually saw something, a guy was talking about, scientist, doctor, was like, when we eat, we're releasing, I think, dopamine, one of the feel-good chemicals in the brain, in anticipation and eating, right? So that's what you're addicted to, like that, this chemical release. And then he said, and you can also get the same dopamine release. It's you train it differently for skipping meals. It's like, it's just training your brain in a different way. So like, oh, I'm doing something good for myself. I'm actually making it through. I'm not giving in, and I'm sticking with my program, and boom, dopamine release. It's just like, same thing, same high you're really looking for from food, you can get from the absence of food. So it's really such a great example of just switching our perspective on something to get what I would argue is a more positive result, right? If you feel sluggish, tired, needing naps, carrying extra weight, then I would definitely make the case that this would be a very positive switch for you. And give it a try. Obviously I'm not a doctor, and if you have any special conditions or anything like that, yourself best of all. But just sharing what's really worked for me. And and I think it's such a great example, like I said, of things that we could look at in other areas of our life too, right? When we overcome those habitual patterns that aren't necessarily serving us and retrain to develop a new habit, a new ritual, so to speak, because we get in these patterns, right? And so try switching it up in this way. And it's like we've talked about so many times on the show, is you switch up the inputs, you're going to get different outputs, and you're going to get different, you switch up what you're doing energetically, and it just opens up all new pathways. It's a way to affect, epigenetics, to affect your genes. I mean, there's just so much good can come from it. If you look into last few years, people have been talking about it a whole lot. I started doing it maybe 5 years ago, and even more research since then. So check it out. Check out intermittent fasting. Give it a whirl. Love to hear if you have some good results. Drop me an email, brandon@positivehead.com. And otherwise, what I wanted to talk about, I saw a quote, and it was from Confucius many, many moons ago, who said, "Attack the evil that is within yourself rather than attacking the evil that is in others." And it really jumped out at me when I saw it. Look at yourself, not someone else. I mean, I don't maybe have some issues with the statement. I don't know that attacking the evil within yourself. I mean, I get the general idea. Look at the evil within yourself. Deal with the evil within yourself rather than going after something out there, so to speak. And so I think that is a really profound, powerful thing. Maybe don't attack the evil within yourself, but process it, deal with it, transmute it, address it, rather than being so hung up with the evil out there. It's like, I forget who said, we've all heard, the paraphrasing, yesterday I was wise and I wanted to change the world. Or yesterday I was smart and wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise and want to change myself. And something to that effect. And it's so true. It's like, you want to get rid of evil in the world. You'd like to see less of it. Work on the evil that's within yourself. If it's all out there reflecting you back to you in some way, then that is the place where, it's right back to, how do I make the changes? Well, if I want to be wise, I start with the changes in myself. And that actually shifts what shows up in my movie. It's like Paul Selig said the other day on the most recent, this week's interview with him, that I even said, if you listen to it, Wednesday's episode, I said, wow, that's really profound to let that sink in. And he said, yeah, it is. If you're seeing it, then you are in alignment with it in some way. Anything you're seeing or hearing about, right? That's how, if you think about you being this broad being, this elaborate, multidimensional being, like a near-death experience I was listening to a few weeks ago. And the guy said, he realized he's getting shown all these universes and multiverses. He had died supposedly and was on the other side experiencing before he came back. And then he was shown how all these universes and multiverses were all happening for him. He was the prodigal son, the chosen one. And then he went on to say, of course, that same light that made him the prodigal son, that all of not only this universe, but other universes were happening in an elaborate dance for him same with all of us in some sense, right? And so if you are that special and that unique and that divine and that worth it, and it's like, and that vast, you're that vast, right? Then it makes sense, right? If you think about, if there is no out there, everything you see is in some way a part of your vibration, your vibrational offering, then what to do other than look within the self to shift what you're seeing out there. Maybe the answer to solving all the world's problems lie on you doing the inner work, right? Have you really thought about that? Imagine for a moment, you doing all the inner work, you doing all the things that help to deliver the greatest and grandest version of yourself, which is beyond anything you've experienced up to this point, right? More of your higher self funneling and channeling into your physical vessel, right? And as a result, you're actually stepping into different timelines. Like Bashar talks about, all the time, that we're actually vibrating in and out of and stepping in and out of different timelines, like constantly with our vibrational offering. So imagine you becoming the greatest and greatest version, and that causes you to step into a timeline where the problems in, Russia or Ukraine are dissipate, right? Because you've stepped into a different timeline where there's more peace in the world, more love in the world. And that's really empowering to think of it in those terms, to consider that you are that vast, that powerful, that you can change the world by changing yourself. And owning, if you're seeing it, then you're in alignment with it in some way. And then seeing, okay, what can I do to step into a world that is more of a reflection of what I want? Well, I can become more of what I want, right? Right? If it's a fractal, it's the microcosm and the macrocosm, all reflections of the same thing. It would make sense that this is how it's structured. And what I found is the more I work on myself, the more I see beauty in my life. So I truly believe this is the path. Otherwise, I have a clip here I want to share. It's Abraham talking about a few different things. The title was How to Defend Against People Attacking You. And I was curious about, that topic. And I really didn't hear it. I think it was poorly labeled, but there's still so much good stuff in here. I decided to share it anyway. So let's take a listen.
Today after a very long journey of climbing through myself out of my childhood and through my adulthood and into this new peace that I found. But there's a little bone I'd like you to throw me.
Can you hear clearly? Interesting words, climbing through my childhood.
Climbing up out of this life and into this place that I've been looking for.
Yeah. We like the poetic nature of that tragedy.
Thank you. It's been a personal crusade. You've been elemental to the changes that I put forth, and I'd like to take that last step, and I'd like to finish getting out of the way of myself.
Well, here's the thing. We're really eager to visit with you, and you'll feel movement for sure. And we don't want this to disappoint you, but there's no last step.
That's what I was kind of hoping you were going to say.
And you really don't want there to ever be a last step, because calibration is so much fun. That's the satisfaction of life, to reach for something that isn't, and then feel it into being, and then witness the cooperation of the universe confirming your alignment. Ooh, that's why you keep coming back. You want more of that. Yeah.
I still have fear that I know who I am. I have fear that the things that I've attracted to me are true and correct. I still have fear that holds me back from giving myself fully to what's ahead of me.
Well, good. So we can feel the intentionality that you offered that statement to us, and we want to address it with equal power. Fear is guidance, and fear every single time is saying your inner being disagrees with you. So what you just said is, I have strong beliefs about myself that my inner being disagrees with. That's what you just said. Who do you think we're going to side with? Who do you think we think is right?
I think in the end, we're talking to the same person.
So when you feel fear, it's those things you've picked up along your physical trail that seemed real, that you didn't want to be real, that you don't want to be real, that keep being real. And it's hard to deny what manifests. But you got to understand that the thing that prevents you from moving to who you really are and what you really want is looking at what is. What is the enemy of more. Your memory is really hard on future. And so those like you who like to think, who like to ponder, who like to consider, who like to evaluate, who just can't stop it, you make it harder on yourself than it needs to be. But that same trait of focusing, which is the creative tool, the focus is the creative tool. So it will serve you or not serve you, but it's the same tool. It's like you can build a house with a hammer, you can tear a house down with a hammer. Same tool. Not the best analogy, but actually it's a terrible analogy. Never use it again. But you get the point. And so,
No more excuses.
well, what is an excuse anyway?
So far, it's been a reason not to move forward.
But you see, just because you're articulating a vibrational propensity with words, we want to get right to the heart of something. We want to say, let's coin a new word together, a new phrase together, vibrational excuse. It's a vibrational excuse. Because you've got vibrational excuses whether you say them out loud or not. How many times are you in a situation where you really want to say something but you hold back?
That's a new skill I've learned.
For politeness, it's not a skill, it's a curse. Because it's a lie. And because it confuses things. And because it makes you believe in words instead of in vibration. A vibrational excuse is just a vibration that contradicts desire. A vibrational excuse isn't an excuse, a rather clearly formed ball of resistance. I've gathered this up and I use it anytime I need it to explain why what I really want hasn't come about yet. It's just a habit of thought. So just diffuse it. A belief is just a thought I continue to think. But be nice to yourself when you say that. A belief is just a thought that the law of attraction continues to bring to me, because the law of attraction, bugger that it is responding to my vibration. In other words, law of attraction is the reason that beliefs continue to be perpetuated. So you have to start at some general place where it's easier to let go of the pieces that don't fit. Do you know a specific excuse is much more problematic than a general one? Because a general excuse is younger, it's newer, it doesn't have the momentum. So the difference between specific and general, let's start it the other way. The difference between general and specific is that the more specific you are, the more momentum there is, because it took more attention to cause the specifics and the momentum. Does that make sense? So you can reverse that. If you've got something that's not working for you, you can begin to generalize it. You can begin to diffuse it. You usually can't let go of it altogether because of the momentum of it and because law of attraction's got hold of it. So you want to talk specifically about an excuse that you would like to let go of, and we can play with it together, or do you want to just do it on your own?
My excuse is that I want to hold on to some last vestiges of ego. I feel that...
Oh, we want you to too. We want you to too, because your ego is so misunderstood.
Well, I mean the negative parts. The parts that want, that still want validation outside of me, instead of coming from within.
But here's the thing. This is why this is tricky. Is it wrong for you to want to thrive?
I feel like I've been taught that.
But is it wrong for you to want to thrive?
No.
Can you help others thrive from a place of not thriving?
No.
Not that you're assigned to helping anybody do anything, but we're appealing to your altruistic, imperfect upbringing.
I have great intent to help a lot more in my life, so...
Yeah. So is thriving good or bad?
That's good.
Let's say you tune. Life has caused you, and even the life you lived before you got here, to create a vibrational reality that is full of manifestational potential. And your inner being is there in the midst of that, focused only upon that and attracting on your behalf to that. That's your calling. That's your inner being rooting for your thriving in every aspect. And when you deny it, because someone who wasn't thriving didn't understand what thriving really is, and so they made excuses about the benefits of not thriving, and you bought into that. Have you ever met somebody impoverished and not thriving who helped anybody do anything other than complain? So here's your inner being over here, thriving and thriving on your behalf, having gathered all the cooperative components to you, and you denying, you don't let yourself go there because everybody else hasn't already gone to their point of thriving.
I'm still imitating the people that came before me.
Almost everybody does, but not all of them. Masters have found a way around that resistance. Thrivers have found a way around that resistance. Joyful people have found a way around that resistance. But what is required is you have to let go of what others think, because they don't know. They couldn't possibly understand your point of attraction. They are evaluating your point of attraction through their point of attraction. Esther bought a new house. It cost a lot of money. Much of the world would be critical of her living in a house that costs that much money. So she doesn't invite them to live with her. And she knows that she can't get sick enough to help sick people get well, or poor enough to help poor people become prosperous. And that her thriving deprives no one of thriving. In fact, the only thing it does is set an example of what thriving is. And some people, right up close to her, they suffer when they see the intensity of that thriving. Because when they see the intensity of that thriving, it activates within them the comparison between their lack of thriving and someone else's thriving. You see, this is the thing that is so interesting. Oh, we're having a wonderful time here with you. You are natural calibrators. That's what you do. You seek harmony and harmonics all the time. You just got to decide what you want to harmonize with. Do you want to harmonize with the best of you or the pinched off version of you? Do you want to harmonize with thriving or suffering? Do you want to harmonize with wellness or sickness? Do you want to harmonize with clarity or confusion? Because it's your choice all day, every day. And most humans would say, they're wrong about this. They're wrong about this for about 5 reasons that we'll tell you in a minute. They're wrong about this because most people tend to harmonize with lack of thriving because it's altruistic. They think it is more spiritual. It's not either one of those. They think that it's better for humanity. It really isn't. But they do it because they care what others think, and they meet up with more people that harmonize with them over complaining about what's wrong than who harmonize with them over basking in what is going well. Now, what's wrong with all of that, when we say most people, is that there is so much more thriving and so much more well-being out there in the world. Just the fact that your sun comes up every morning puts your thriving into a category that clearly wipes out every single thing that you think is going wrong today. Your news outlets go all around the world looking for trouble spots and pinpointing them and highlighting them and amplifying them, and then bring them into your living rooms as if they are anything but that much of a blip in the scheme of things. If the true lack of thriving were indicated on your television screen as you're watching some news report, or as you're watching television, let's say you're watching television all day long, you never turn it off, you're just watching it, and at some point during the day there's a zzz, like a zzz. What was that? Well, that was the representation of all the not well-being on the planet today, in comparison with the other 24 hours of perfect broadcasting of beautiful things, you see. And so you are like most people. You have let conscientious, well-meaning people that are trying to evaluate what's up with life based upon their observation of manifestations only, who have made every decision about their future based upon what is, so that their future ekes out minuscule improvements, because what is so rampant in their vibration that they can barely let it go. So every day is a new day, different faces, different places, just the same old stuff, because you keep observing what is instead of letting what is be the bouncing off place for who you really are and what you really want.
Fear is guidance. We talked a lot about fear on the show recently, and it's just you disagreeing with your inner being, which is in a fearless state. And that's something else I talked about with Paul Selig, transcending fear, right? Your higher self, your inner being, as Abraham's referring to it doesn't live there. So that's guidance of where you're out of alignment with your inner being, your higher self, the upper room, right? As he talked about. So, and when you're feeling fear, it's tough because you pick these things up along the way. They feel real. They seem real. You start seeing reflections, and it becomes a feedback loop. And what she really stresses here a lot is huge, which is when you constantly are looking at what has happened or what is, you are staying stuck, creating more of that. It's the enemy of more, as she put it. And your memory is hard on the future. And using your focus as a creative tool that can serve you, that can lift you out of these vibrational excuses that are holding you back. And she said, look, whether you say it or not, your vibration is, it's there. It's either holding you back, or it's as a lie, confusing things, or it's leading you into the next greatest and greatest version of yourself. She often says this one: a belief is just a thought you continue to make. And you get into specific beliefs and excuses. They're more problematic than a general excuse, but you can do that. Usually start your general and goes specific, but you can reverse that. You can start generalizing things and realizing, understanding the inner workings of this game that you are immersed of, a part of. And, understanding that you're a natural calibrator. You can either harmonize with thriving or you can harmonize with suffering, she said. So stop listening to anyone who's focusing on what is. People who are focused on what is, they're not the people to put all your attention on. And instead, just let what is, she said, be the bouncing off place for what you want. And that is now using reality to your advantage to propel you into your future self, flying, soaring into the being you're meant to become. And with that being said, I have a song called Fly Free, Little Ones. The artist is Feels Like, and love this track. Love you too. Till next time, journey well. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
Cage. I found my old cage. He's calling for... The cello looks like one of the lights on the tree.
You're happy for the tree? We're not abandoning you. We're just letting you free.
That's right. Do I have your permission? Do I have your permission?
We're not abandoning you. We're just letting you free.
That's right.
You want a panchero? Go. He's on the tree. She might like that.